Welcome back to Get the Shot, brought to you by Tamron Australia. I'm your host Joe, and today with me I've got Leah Traecey. Leah is a brilliant photographer. She's done a lot of stuff with product photography in great studio environments and has now pivoted a little bit, see, pivoting, basketball term, to the WNBL and the NBL as a whole lurking there. Yeah. And so I'm sure we'll tap into all of that and talk about all of those things. But Leah, thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
No, awesome. Good to have you. Going to the product side of things first, because I'm very interested in this looking at your portfolio. Do you spend more time in pre-production than any other element on a shoot and setting it all up? Or how does your time spread on a shoot work?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think preparation is key with product photography. You're definitely storyboarding, creating, mood boards, gathering inspiration and images. Researching the product is really important as well. So making sure that the image speaks to what the product is trying to sell and convey to the consumer. So in terms of a split, I would say I probably spend about 75% of my time doing pre-prod stuff.
Wow.
And then I would say the easiest part, I probably 15% is shooting. So once I know what I'm doing and I've gathered all my props and I understand how I'm going to shoot it, shooting it's the easy part. And then, you go into post-production time, so the editing process.
I've always found product photography super interesting because a bottle of shampoo or soap, it's not too exciting, but you manage to make the photos look so amazing and the product pop and look so nice.
Yeah.
So how do you get there? Because I'd have no clue where to begin.
Well, I think that's the beauty of a creative brain, right? So if you're thinking about a product, you were just saying shampoo is like soap, right? It's a bottle of soap. It's not that exciting. For me, if I think about shampoo or soaps as a whole, I'm like, okay, so what's the experience that I'm having while I'm using the product? Does it smell nice? What are the ingredients in it? How does it make me feel once I've finished using it? Is my skin soft? Do I feel sexy? Do I feel clean? So taking in all those elements and those key words, then you're looking and researching imagery and maybe different aspects and different areas of imagery around those words. So it's kind of like brainstorming. I don't know if when you're a kid, you did mind mapping as a kid. So you think of mind mapping as you'd have this central thing, and then you just from that you'd have a select amount of words, and then from those words you'd branch off into more words and more adjectives and more descriptives, and then from there you build your story. So you're like, okay, cool, soap can make me feel all those things, and then you input your lighting and maybe bring in other props, and how you want to. It also depends on the brief that a client will give you. So if they want something that's high-end and chic, they're going to want something that's maybe a little bit more minimalist and clean. If they want something that's a bit more commercial and approachable, they might want something that, or is for kids, they might want something that's a bit more fun and dynamic and colorful and bright. So taking in all those considerations, you kind of work your way from there.
Wow, okay. Do you get lost in the research in that process?
Yes. Yeah. I definitely do. That's why I say 75% of my time would be researching and pre-production, because you do get distracted. Well, I do anyway, as a thought processor. My mind definitely goes off in tangents. And I think that's the beauty of it, because you never really know where you can get to. And a lot of it's trial and error as well. Sometimes you'll be at soap and then you'll end up in a dark chocolate cacao business over here. And you're like, how did I get to dark chocolate from soap? So, but there's something beautiful and messy and fun that happens in the middle that works.
We made this show because we really wanted to showcase what goes on behind the scenes. All the moments that don't make it into the final frame. If you've been enjoying this conversation, it would mean the world to us if you could follow us. Like, subscribe, leave a comment, Check us out on Spotify. You can even check out our website in our description. There, you can submit your own stories on how you got the shot. All right, without any further ado, let's get back to the podcast. You've done a lot of food photography as well. I noticed that in your page as well. How important is the set and the background with food? Because I'd almost argue that it's more important because it needs to, the environment, food's a lot about the environment and the people you're with and the experience.
Totally.
And when you're getting photos of food, when you're doing food photography, capturing that experience somehow is really important. So I'm guessing you put a lot of effort into having a set, but like, where does your attention go with that?
Funnily enough, when I've had to shoot food before, it will always be for a restaurant or a client specifically that has a venue. So a lot of the time, the venues that I've shot at, I've been really fortunate because they're really, really beautiful venues, like Rain and LaRue, which is in that beautiful heritage listed ANZ Bank building that's at the end of Collins Street, or Firebird, which is this beautiful space with oranges and greens and really like dynamic colored glass and a lot of texture and a lot of warmth. And when you're in a space like that, you don't have to work too hard to hero the food because it's already in its environment, right? So, and they make their menu and they design their menu and their food and their presentation. The chefs they do all the work, like they do all the heavy lifting. They will design and plate everything and work with the restaurant owners to make sure that it is all part of the overall experience, which is really nice for me. So the most I really have to do is make sure that it's really well lit, and as long as there's maybe a drink and some cutlery and, you know, I a good focus, like as long as the image is in focus, then I'm very fortunate that it's not as difficult as you'd think. Like, I think when you start, you kind of, you think more about it, you take a lot more time, and it's definitely, you can overwhelm because you think too much about it. But once you relax yourself and you sit into it and you're like, okay, I don't need to think so hard about it. It is what it is. It's already beautiful. Just take the photo. Just take the photo and let it do its thing, you know. So that's really nice. The lighting is important. Sometimes it is tricky because a lot of these beautiful venues do have very dark, moody, ambient lighting, which makes sense because it's a beautiful romantic space. Yep. Nobody wants fluorescent lighting while they're trying to eat this beautiful food, or if they're on a romantic date, it's the last thing any female wants is fluorescent lighting in their face. Like, oh no.
Do you have trauma from that happening to you? Yeah.
Fluorescent lighting, yeah.
On a date, yeah.
Oh, not on a date, just in general. Right. Fluorescent lighting in general.
Is mood more important than story when it comes to products and food and stuff like that?
I think it depends. Products, no. I think the story is important for product photography. With the food, depending on the venue, I think mood and ambience, because what you're trying to do is convey what it feels like to be in that space. And if the restaurant is beautiful and romantic and heartfelt and warm, then you need to be able to encapsulate that as well. Whereas product, they will always have a different story for every product. Right. It's not really, for me, a product doesn't have a mood, it has a backstory to it. Okay. But food is like, it's a very emotional thing, right? For me anyway, so. Yeah.
I mentioned this at the top of the podcast and introducing you. You've moved on in your career a little bit more towards sport photography.
Yeah, basketball.
And with basketball.
Yeah.
We're actually connected in that because I used to work for a Southeast Melbourne Phoenix very briefly.
Oh.
And so, they were in the finals last year. And
how good. Yeah, I remember that actually. That was good.
You've gone from something that's quite controlled and you have a lot of input there and a lot of pre-production time
Yeah.
into something where, you know, okay, this team is versing that team,
Yeah.
or this person is going to turn up to this event,
Yeah.
take photos, go nuts, go wild.
Yeah.
How do you prepare for that compared to your previous work?
You don't. To be quite frank, you don't. And I think that's the beauty of it. I started in street ball. So, and it mainly happened because I needed a shift. I felt like everything I was producing was starting to look the same, feel the same, and I needed to shake things up. You know, you can't grow unless you feel a bit uncomfortable, and I was feeling too comfortable. So I wanted to explore movement. I'm thinking about, you know, for personal reasons, because I want to do a show. And I thought about all the different elements of movement that I could explore in terms of taking photos and shooting and being a part of. I have really easy access to basketball because there's a lot of street ball around where I live. There's a lot of basketball courts. I was like, okay, this could be interesting. This could be fun. I went to one event and I took photos of it, and I found it really hard. It was really difficult. The first one I did was crash the court, and it was indoors, and it was raining outside. Not that that matters because we were inside, but the lighting was terrible. We were in a hall. And like I said, I'm so used to such a controlled environment, shooting things that are well lit and perfect and pretty and well placed, and I could take my time to take a photo and get the shot.
And when I think of RMIT basketball courts, I do not think of controlled or well lit or anything like that.
No, any indoor stadium that is like, unless you're at the top level, is not nice to shoot in. Actually,
Few exceptions,
scratch
right?
that,
Yeah.
because I've had some stellar shoots this year
Yeah.
from some games that I've absolutely loved, and the lighting has been impeccable. But I think the dynamic range that I've had to adjust in terms of capturing a split-second moment and understanding how to read plays between people, and everything happens so fast, so you don't want to miss anything. The first game I went and shot, I came home with maybe 6,000 photos.
Goodness me.
I know. So ridiculous. And now I come home, and simply because I'm reading the plays better, I'm understanding what the players, if they were to receive my photos, what they're looking for in themselves. I know what a moment is that I need to capture, and the impact that that can have in that moment, you know, like the energy, the emotion, everyththing that's happening happens like in a split second. So being able to capture that is incredible. And now I think like a game that I'll go to, I'll come home with going from 6,000 to maybe 1,500 photos, which is much, much better, because obviously everything that we're shooting is high speed.
Yep.
So you're taking like bursts of photos as you're following a movement.
Yeah, wow. Okay. You've tapped on something interesting there. How important is the knowledge of the sport that you're shooting when you're a sport photographer?
I think it really helps. It definitely helps. Not I think, I know now how important it is, because if you're taking a photo of someone and you don't understand whether they're going to do a pick and roll, or if they're driving forward, or if they're guarding, specific players like specific shots of themselves doing what they do. So, you know, you've got bigs that want shots of them being like doing big things.
Yeah, go figure.
You've got
yeah.
like, go figure. Guards, obviously, they have a specific role as well. So everyone would prefer, because they will use these photos later on as well in their packets to send to get signed for other teams, whether or not it's over in Europe or whether or not it's for another season here. It matters to them. So making sure that you're being able to provide quality imagery for them to also be able to use, or their managers to be able to use in future, that's huge for them. So yeah, I think being able to understand the game, at the very least, to be able to understand it is really important.
Yeah. You talked about going through photos and trying to pick out the right ones. Do you look at the photos you've taken straight after a game once you get home, or do you put?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you just have to keep the momentum going, or like what is it?
Yeah. So a lot of the time when you're shooting for NBL 1, they require an upload straight away.
Right.
So if you're at any big games, they'll want a 3/4 time upload so they can post to socials immediately. They'll want your top point scorer. They'll want, the person who is, I don't know, like the MVP, anyone who's like high performing within that game, they want to be able to post straight away. And then afterwards, they will want a recap of that to be able to also put on their socials. So most NBL 1 player, like photographers, will go and upload their image gallery within 8 hours of, for most of us, it's straight away. So 3/4 time, and then after full time, you go home, you spend like 3 hours or so editing and then upload.
Quite a few late nights then working.
A lot of late nights.
Yeah.
A lot of early mornings.
Oh, really?
So like sometimes, there will be mornings where I was uploading at 2 a.m., 3 a.m.
Yeah, right. So from the sounds of things, and what I'm gathering for your career, you like to change things up with how you approach not only photography, but the style of photography and all of that. Where do you think this need to switch things up came from? And
wow, it's a big question. I think it's about growing for me, I started photography nearly 20 years ago now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell.
So 20 years ago, just out of the womb.
Yeah.
No, for about 20 years ago. And I started just by shooting music. So I was going to gigs, shooting bands, and then I moved through fashion, did the fashion thing, and e-com, and I think it's not so much about changing my style, it's about my style growing, and being able to refine it and to be better at what I do and be more dynamic in who I am as a photographer and be able to offer, my services to anyone who would ask it. Like, I want someone to be able to look at the style of my photography, how I light things, how I shoot things, how I capture energy, how I tell a story. I want them to see that, feel it, and then go, that's what we want. We want that for our brand, So I don't think it's so much of, some people think it's bad to be restless and kind of keep moving through styles, but for me, I'm a sucker for learning, and
that's cool.
I want to be the best at everything.
I got to really commend that approach, because I said change, but then you said grow, and I think that's, as a mindset, is so much healthier and better, and something that we can all sort of take away. What advice would you give yourself from that time ago? I was going to mention how many years ago when you started, but from that
20 years ago?
I'm not going to say it.
It's because you don't believe it.
No, not at all.
Keep going. If I could give myself advice, keep going. Don't let imposter syndrome get into your head, because that happens to the best of us. And while it's nice to think that people take imposter syndrome and take all these doubts and comparisons, and they're constantly comparing themselves to people. I think it's really important to, sure, take it on board, but they're not you. You've got your own journey. You know, I've had my own journey as well. There's been setbacks, but everything that's happened has happened for a reason. You know, like all of these things in this life path that I've taken has helped me become who I am today and who I am as a photographer today. And I've met some incredibly beautiful people, and I feel incredibly blessed to be able to still do what I do and love what I do. You know, like how cool is it that I get to do what I love every day of the week? You know, everyone's like, oh, you work for yourself. You know, when's your people say, what are you doing for the weekend? And I'm like,
Yeah.
every day is my weekend, or I don't know what a weekend is, you know, because I love what I do. This is me, and I will continue to have my trials and tribulations and my struggles, but I'll continue to forge through that and grow stronger as a photographer and as a person. So I think, if anything, doubt is fine to have. Just don't sit in it for too long and let yourself grow from it is like a really big thing.
Wow, that's absolutely awesome. We're sort of running out of time, unfortunately, but yeah.
Let's keep talking.
Oh my God, I'd love to.
Yeah.
We might have to come back at this again
Yeah.
at the end of the season. But Leah, thank you so much for coming on the show. I've
Thanks
learned
for
so
having
much,
me.
and especially all that stuff about mindset, keeping going, and really finding a groove. So yeah, again, thank you so much, and
Thanks for having me.
lovely time having you. All right, see you guys next time.
Bye.